Are EA trying to actively destroy, or at the very least alienate, the Battlefield community? You might say that sounds absurd. Why would they want to dismantle their own community that has stood with them through thick and thin? And I'm sure we can all agree that's been more of the thick stuff of late, when without us, they simply wouldn't have a player base at all. Well, it could just be that getting rid of their current community is their end goal. This one might get a bit tinfoil hatty, but I think a lot of this makes sense. So let's take a look at what they've done so far and do a quick summary, if you will. DICE and EA created a Battlefield game with tons of features that literally nobody out there ever asked for. Features like specialists, which obviously mimicked games like Apex or Overwatch. Features like 128 player servers on large wide open maps with very little cover, which is straight out of the Battle Royale handbook and was clearly not tested enough. And then even other things like the Plus system, which honestly I barely even use, and it feels like a feature stuck in there to try to somehow trump Call of Duty's weapon customization options. Ha! Take that, Call of Duty! I would bet my left nut that most of you out there, if you're even playing the game, don't bother using it either. So you've got all of that to start with, tons of features nobody asked for, a game that was blatantly rushed out the door and in no shape for release at all. The community backlash begins, the negative reviews start flooding in, Angry Joe gets very angry, and it's quite obvious to everybody that DICE need to whip this game into shape. But what have we had so far since the Christmas break ended? News of a scoreboard that's only rumoured to be coming out next month and doesn't include deaths, a Portal Zombie XP farm mode that was promptly removed once they realised, oh dear, I think we just shat the bed, and of course the newest thing, that Crown sponsored stream that they had the other night featuring, well, people I've never even heard of. That entire thing was just so out of touch with the Battlefield community, players, creators, all of us. Now, I'm sure those streamers are very nice and they're good at their jobs, but they have never been associated with the Battlefield franchise, as far as I'm aware. Now, I know what EA are doing here. Of course, it doesn't make a lot of sense to use streamers that already play the game because you'd only attract the same audience. They're looking to pull in new faces to the Battlefield franchise. But my god, was it embarrassing to watch that stream? I mean, if you've seen any of the clips from it, sheesh!
I got a fun little car! I'm gonna come pick you up. It's really cute. Oh my gosh, that car! Oh my god! Yes, this is amazing! Let's go!
I mean, talk about a cringe fest. It was almost like it was aimed at 10-year-olds. And then they got stuck under a staircase on Kaleidoscope.
Okay, here we go.
Alright. Where do I go? Where do I go?
I know, most games have collision problems. Hell, I still have rounds in Battlefield 4 where I'll get stuck underneath the map, but every tiny little problem like this in Battlefield 2042 is just another nail in the coffin at this point, especially when it happens on a stream with like 20 or 30,000 viewers. But we haven't even gotten to the most hilarious bit yet, because this stream had 3 different people playing and sort of competing for score against one another, and there isn't even an end of round scoreboard. So understandably, somebody asked Crown on Twitter, how are we going to know who's won? And Crown actually had to have their own scoring system behind the scenes just for this show because Battlefield doesn't have one. I mean, it's just getting embarrassing at this point. Then, the day after, the Battlefield Twitter account tweeted something, and if you're anything like me, you've got that nice shiny bell notification icon turned on for the Battlefield Twitter account, because you want to know as soon as that big juicy content drop is happening. Just like how you want to know when I upload my next video, so go hit that bell, guys. So of course we all thought, is this the long-awaited roadmap that we've all been waiting for? No, Of course it isn't. It's this week's unlockable skin. Now, the skin itself, it doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't really fit in the Battlefield franchise. It's supposed to be a Chinese New Year's skin, so if you've played other games like Overwatch, they have these yearly events with skins and cosmetics centered around said event, and yeah, it seems like Battlefield are going the same way. To be clear, I don't have anything against those events. I love Overwatch. In fact, that's the game my spouse plays every day, and those events really fit the overall theme of the game. But not Battlefield. So that's where we are up to with the game, guys. Now, you can't tell me that with all these decisions that DICE and probably mostly EA are taking, that they don't know that this isn't going to rub the community the right way. I see so many posts and comments all over the place along the lines of, how could DICE not realise this cosmetic would anger the community? How come DICE can't implement a rudimentary scoreboard? This isn't a coincidence. The question is not how, but why. So as I was browsing Twitter today, I came across a tweet from Pwnstar, and his thoughts align much with my own. He said, theory, Battlefield management is intentionally trying these other directions with their game to scare off the Battlefield community and import the next generation who want the hero and battle royale experience for more money. No way they didn't expect this kickback after Hardline and Firestorm. No chance. And I completely agree here. There's no way they didn't see the backlash for all these things like specialists coming. Perhaps DICE and more likely EA are actively trying to get rid of the older Battlefield players who remember the previous games and usher in a new generation of Fortnite players. It makes sense. Those are the sorts of players who are going to buy your cosmetics. Battlefield players couldn't care less about skins, and they know that we won't swallow these cringe lines, the profanity filters, the lack of all chat. They know that all these things will infuriate us and eventually cause us to leave the franchise, which is of course precisely what is happening. Whilst at the same time, they cater the game more and more towards children and try to get the 12-year-olds currently playing Fortnite and Minecraft and whatever to jump ship into the Battlefield franchise. Mark my words, I won't be surprised at all if the next Battlefield game has an age rating of 12. Now, that is just a theory, and honestly, I mean no disrespect to any DICE developers who are slogging away all day, every day, trying to make the game better. I am 99% sure that these design decisions are coming from the higher-ups within EA, and I would bet my right nut that a lot of developers are very dissatisfied with the direction of the franchise as well. Right now, Battlefield is having an identity crisis. It's trying to be something it's not. It's like trying to, entice a girl by pretending to be someone you're not. You can find out what movies she likes and pretend to like them yourself, but eventually she's going to find out, she's going to see through your thin veiled charade, and it'll just come off as insincere. And that's what Battlefield feels like to me currently. Insincere. I don't know where the Battlefield franchise is heading in the next game or what Marcus Leto and Vince Zampella of Respawn are planning for it, but when we do find out something, I think we'll know a bit more if this little theory of mine is correct or not. But for the time being, what we really need is a roadmap for Battlefield 2042. We know that DICE are planning to work on and support the game, but what are they going to do? As Mr. Westy said here, at this stage of Battlefield 4's life cycle, the game had already received one DLC, China Rising, which included 4 maps and new weapons. The second DLC, Second Assault, was about to launch. Battlefield 2042 has had nothing, and we don't even know when the first content drop is happening. So that kind of puts it in perspective. Roadmap, Season 1, new maps, new vehicles, new weapons, fixes, legacy features, UI customization, balance. These are the things we expect to be hearing about, and I'm hoping that we're going to sooner rather than later, because honestly, it's becoming harder and harder to cover this game as a creator. It's gotten to the point where my own subscribers are, almost laying into me simply for covering the game at all because they're so negative about it, or because, I enjoy certain aspects of it. Even though I would say I've been one of the more critical creators on the game. So please, DICE, give us something here, because I don't know how long I could hold out, man. Anywho, as always, fellas, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Much love and all that to those of you who are still supporting me through these tumultuous times. I have massive appreciation and admiration for you all. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here and you want to keep updated on Battlefield. Good or bad, I will tell it to you like it is. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.